well, it's some like water-based paint stuff. It's not that bad compared to what I was doing yesterday. This thing's leaking oil. We'll also check the oil level after driving it around a bit. So, if you've ever wondered what it actually feels like to do your own oil change, well, let me show you. But first, let me show you the stuff that I actually use for this. This is just what I happen to have used for my vehicle. First thing was to get the car somewhere I could work on it at and secure it. Took it to my garage, made sure the parking brake was on, make sure it was in park, and even threw a chalk behind the wheel just to make sure it wouldn't roll off, just in case. When I finally started jacking it up and I saw the wheel lifting off the ground, I was already going in my mind like, this is actually happening, we're actually doing this. It's still crazy seeing things for the first time and doing them for the first time, either way. First time actually lowering the jack onto the stand, jack actually dropped faster than I expected it to, so I got a little surprised seeing the car almost fall, but I mean it wasn't that high, and I knew next time I had to be really careful with how sensitive these things can be. After checking everything to make sure it was secure, I realized getting under it, I was basically like, okay, looks like I'm going to trust my life to a couple of pieces of metal and a block of rubber in the back. I made sure everything was secure before going under, so I know I can trust my equipment as any good driver, any pilot would, after checking it, of course. And then getting the 4 bolts off in the panel to access the pan and the filter was pretty easy. Just take a socket wrench, screw them off, get the panel out, and that's about it. It was my first time under a car, and finally getting the pan ready and getting the drain plug off. It was a little tough, and there wasn't as much space as I expected to work with, but I was still able to work with it. I really don't mind tight spaces, so I actually find them pretty cozy, which some of you might disagree with. That's totally alright. But yeah, I got the plug untightened, and I was just able to screw it off. Something I didn't realize until I had a bunch of it on my hands was that oil, despite being used to lubricate your engine, is actually kind of sticky. Like, this stuff will stay stuck on your arm and get on your clothes or whatever your arm happens to brush against unless you wipe it off. For this reason, I decided next time that I'm doing this, I am definitely wearing gloves. Part of working on your own things yourself is learning how to troubleshoot and figure out what works and what doesn't. Turns out that the tool I was gonna use to get my oil filter off was, well, the filter itself was just barely too small, so we had to try a rag, which didn't really work, and then we tried this rubber tourniquet thing, which actually managed to work somehow. I decided for next time I'm gonna get a pair of, I don't even know what these are called, but they'll fit over the filter for sure. Getting the oil filter off was my second reminder of the day that I should definitely wear gloves next time. Just making sure the like oil seal, this thing's leaking oil, is still, or the like gasket ring's still there. And once that's tight, we'll just give it one good tight turn, and then that's it. Then we'll wipe the oil down and the filter. After being mostly done with the underside, I poured all the new oil in. Well, almost all of it, since it's a little easier to work with a little less oil, since you can always just top it off. Compared to having a little too much oil, you'd have to go down and drain the excess, and well, you already saw how oil's drained, so I don't want to have to deal with that unless I need to, even though I do enjoy working on my own stuff. But after making sure the oil level was alright for now and that there was no oil that was leaking, I got down, slid the panel back in. Well, it actually took me a minute to slide it in because I had to figure out how it fit back in there, but it wasn't too hard. Managed to get it in and just tighten the 4 bolts back on. Then we can lower the car off of the jack stands. Well, we'd have to raise it, then take the stand out, then lower it, but you know what I mean. You no longer need to be under the car. And we'll be able to lower it slowly. Oh yeah, as for our used oil, murder drones will, I mean, they'll take any oil, so she'll be very well fed. After washing my dirty hands covered with oil and dust and all kinds of nasties, and also resetting the maintenance notification or whatever it's called inside the actual car, I took it for a bit of a test drive just to see how the engine would feel and also to make sure the oil circulates at least a little bit. Okay, that's good. Engine runs a lot smoother than before. We'll also check the oil level after driving it around a bit. Overall, the results of my oil change were successful. The engine ran smoother as it would with new oil, and I also didn't have any oil leaking, didn't notice any problems that day or driving for the rest of the next week. By then, I took out the dipstick again just to check for the final time, and that's when I noticed the oil level was just slightly under what it's supposed to be, which tracks perfectly with how much oil I put in, just a little bit under what was necessary. That way I'd be able to top it off and I wouldn't have risked overflowing anything with oil. Overall, it was interesting actually getting to see how things work and how everything goes on, and also a little more physical than I thought it would be, like having to actually work on everything, but I'm a pretty hands-on kind of person and I just like working on my things, so I personally enjoy it, though I prefer not to have to do that as much as I can because fixing problems is a lot harder than just doing casual maintenance activities. Anyways, that's it for this video. Stay safe and have fun.